some days I just feel like the quality of my life is taken from me. And to know that my body is attacking itself and just is turning on me is just a sucky feeling because I'm so young still.
Simply Shell, Simply Michelle. You're watching her on YouTube, and you know she got a vibe for me, she got a vibe for you.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So as you can tell by the title of the video, I'm going to be giving you guys an update on my health and everything that came with it. I was recently diagnosed with this disease / condition, but I honestly just don't feel like this is the end for me. I feel like there's more to it, but I'll explain more into the video. I'm doing this video because I feel like it could help somebody else who's going through what I've gone through, or even has gotten the same diagnosis and just feels like they're alone. Whenever you get any type of news about your health, it's always going to give you some type of shock. It's going to shake you a little bit because certain things you now have to adjust and get used to because your body is, doing what it wants to do. But all in all, I'm blessed to be here, and I'm blessed that you're here to watch this video. I have been diagnosed with the beautiful F word, which is also known as fibromyalgia, which is a disease that is chronic, that causes widespread pain all over your body. It tends to affect the brain and the central nervous system, that causes your body to be very hypersensitive to pain. To some of you who are just joining, I think it makes sense to explain to you how I even got here. I was experiencing a lot of uncomfortable symptoms that just didn't make sense because it was multiple symptoms. It wasn't just like, oh, I have a headache, oh, I have a stomach ache. It was just a lot of different symptoms. First main symptom for me was gastrointestinal issues. My gut has been bothering me for many, many years, and I never really got a specific diagnosis. It was always just, IBS or spastic colon, and, that's it. It never really got an answer. So, I just ignored it and just kept living my life. And then, as years go on, your body starts changing, things start changing. Things started to become more chronic for me. I started to feel pain all over my body. Some days I'd just be super achy to the point where I couldn't get out of bed. Just a lot of stiffness, pain in my neck, weakness, headaches. Fatigue is just an understatement. It's not even like you're tired. It's like you are exhausted. No matter how much sleep I got, it just didn't matter. Just a lot of just weird symptoms in my body, and I just couldn't understand it. It would come and go at first, but then they started to be more consistent. That's when I became more aware and mindful that I needed to go seek a doctor. Being in a new state and looking for, that great PCP provider was a little challenging for me because I'm in a new state. I don't really know these doctors. You don't really know any doctors anyway until you actually meet them. But upon doing research, I went to see a internal medicine doctor who was very, very nice. I feel like he was thorough, but not thorough enough. He ran a basic series of blood tests, like, they check for infections, so on and so forth. Just a basic test, and some of my tests did come back abnormal. It may sound strange that I'm saying this, but it also gave me a sign of relief, because I've been dealing with so many different things and I never really got an answer. Even when I lived back home in New York, the doctors just were so basic that they weren't thorough enough, let's just say that. So when I got an answer of something, I was like, okay, I'm not crazy. It started to make me feel like something was really wrong, because if a doctor can't give you a precise answer, it's almost like you just wasted your time, and now you have to go back home feeling like crap, and there's really nothing you can do. I had a positive ANA, which means that I'm positive for an autoimmune disease. That doesn't necessarily mean that you 100% have an autoimmune disease. It just detects that, the antibodies are showing that right now. This is what was told to me. I also had an excess amount of iron, which was very alarming to me because I've never had problems with my iron. I've never been anemic. Usually when your iron is low, you are anemic. Mine was high. Upon doing research, Google is always going to be my best friend, even though it can be your worst friend. I wanted to know more about it because I just felt like the doctor was not even taking it as serious as I was. And when I read the things that could go wrong with having too much iron in your body, it scared me. I also had severe vitamin D deficiency, which I've had for many, many years. Even though I took vitamin D on a daily, my body just doesn't want to hold the vitamin D. I also came back for antibodies of Sjogren's disease, which I know nothing about. Doing a little more research, it shows, issues with your salivary glands and just dry mouth, dry eyes, but there are also other serious symptoms that come with it. So these are the things that were presented to me, but they weren't really presented to the doctor as alarming. The only thing that was alarming was the iron. Just bear with me as I tell you this. Now I have 4 tests that come back abnormal. So I said to the doctor, what are we going to do now? I'm still feeling like crap. It's showing possibility of an autoimmune. We need to do some further testing. I had to recommend the further testing because, you know, the doctor was ready to just give me a steroid and keep it moving. And I was just like, we're not doing that. I'm not going to waste my time out of my day to come sit in a doctor to get sticked and pricked all day and just you're going to send me on my way without any recollection as to what is going on with my body. It's almost like if you can't help me, then refer me out to somebody else. That's exactly what was done. He referred me to a rheumatologist for the chronic pain that I was having in my muscles. He also referred me to a hematologist that helps with, you know, the iron overload. I also forgot to mention, I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. I'm just trying to remember. I also got diagnosed with arthritis in my spine. Again, the doctor brushed it off. He said it was not a big deal. Referred me out to a rheumatologist. Not to mention, to get an appointment with the rheumatologist was 3 months. Literally 3 months. So I'm saying to myself, I've been feeling like crap. How am I going to wait another 90 days before I even see a doctor? Like, something's got to give. I can't self-diagnose. I can't even help myself. I'm more of a natural person, so I don't believe in taking a lot of medicine. Personal opinion is when you take something for something, there's always side effects. But if I need to, I was taking Tylenol and Advil, but still like monitoring it. I try to do things the holistic way with like Epsom salt baths and just resting and just trying to hydrate my body. But it was just not helping me. So I became my own like advocate and I called the rheumatologist and I was just like, do you guys have any cancellations and blah, 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 blah. Long story short, I was able to get it in sooner than 3 months by the grace of God. Because when it comes to yourself, you can't just sit back and wait for doctors to call you and nurses to call you, because 9 times out of 10, they're not going to call you because they have so many other people and you're not number 1 on their list. Let's just be real. Got in, told the rheumatologist, explained to her my symptoms. She asked me a series of questions and then she said that she was going to continue to run more blood work from what the internal medicine didn't do, to run more of a thorough panel just to see if anything else comes up, like with any other autoimmune diseases that she can detect. I want to say she did a quick examination, nothing that was I can consider thorough. She was touching on different parts of my body, asking me if it hurt, if it was tender. Just doing those type of tests and stuff within a 5-minute span that I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. I've heard that word plenty of times. My mother actually has fibromyalgia, so it wasn't something that was unfamiliar, but it was a shock to me because I didn't expect her to just diagnose me that fast without blood work, without, you know, imaging, maybe MRI, just something else more thorough. Basically, you have to have more than, I think, 11 tender points to be 11 out of like 19 or 18 points, I guess, to meet the criteria. If I'm saying it wrong, just correct me. I'm still trying to, you know, process all of this. But long story short, that's what she said. So I was left there like, okay, how do you know I have this? Fibromyalgia, there's no definitive test that's going to tell you, hey, you have this, right? There's no test at all. And I feel, as a person, correct me if I'm wrong, that that's just a crock of crap, because how are you going to diagnose me with something that you can't see, you can't feel, and there's no test behind it? Where does fibromyalgia come from? Again, there's no real answer as to where it comes from. It's a disease that affects the brain and the central nervous system, which makes the body very hypersensitive to pain, right? But I just still feel like that's not the end for me, because again, I have all of these other small abnormal testing, but yet she's just diagnosing me yet without even ruling everything out. So fast forward to that. So when I left her office, she wanted me to get some more blood work. I did that. Maybe a week later, she responds back, no phone call, no come back into the office, via the portal. Everything seems okay. Your iron is still a bit up, and now your ANA is negative. So now I'm like, follow up with me in like 6 months, return back to your PCP. That's it. That's what I was left with. That just made me feel crazy, because I'm like, there's still no answer. There's no real medicine to take with fibromyalgia. There's like muscle relaxers. You can do exercises and try to sleep better. And honestly, it was just a crock of crap to me. If you have fibromyalgia or you're living with this, I'm pretty sure there are times where you have felt like just giving up. You just feel like helpless. It's almost like it's an invisible illness, because nobody can see my pain, right? You guys see me on social media. Pretty sure people that you know that have it, you can't see pain. So it's just like you're struggling with this all the time. Your body's always hurting, and yet there's nothing that you can really do. When I left the office that day, I just felt so bummed, and I just felt like I wasted my time, and I was back to square one because I knew the symptoms I was feeling was real. It wasn't in my head, but yet I just felt like that wasn't like, you just know when something doesn't sit right. And I feel like when it comes to your health, you have to be your biggest advocate. I don't care what a doctor tells you. You know what you're feeling, and no matter what they tell you, that doesn't mean that that's the last step. And that's just what I had to look at it for myself. So after the rheumatologist, I was just like, I'm just over it at this point. I went to see the hematologist. He was great, very thorough. He's also an oncologist, so he has a lot of experience with illness. I seem to think that the excess of iron in my blood is inflammatory. Now, bear with me again. Inflammatory. He thinks that it's not something that is genetic, such as hemochromatosis. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but that's something that you get diagnosed when you have too much iron in your blood, and it can just cause a lot of long-term issues. So he ran the blood work. He wanted to check my ferritin levels. I guess that's an indicator of whatever, and if it was still high or whatever, that he was going to do a deeper test and just see, if it was genetics. If I got it from one of my parents or whatever, I have this diagnosis that I don't feel fits me, or maybe it's the beginning of something, but there's something else. There's no way I had a positive ANA. I have antibodies for an autoimmune disease, and there's nobody's putting two and two together with like all of the different issues. I responded back to the doctor, and I was asking her, like, with these other abnormal tests, what does that mean? Like, does that mean I have an autoimmune disease, or you just can't detect it? Sad to say, it's really hard to detect lupus and Sjogren's, and like there's so many other autoimmune diseases, but sometimes it's really hard to detect them because if your levels are not high enough of what they're looking for, then they can't really diagnose you. So she said that just because I have the antibodies for the autoimmune, if my levels don't meet the criteria, then I'm just stuck. She said it can take a month to increase my levels, or it can take 5 years. Sometimes it's a slow progress with an autoimmune disease. And I'm just like, well, damn. It just made me feel alone. It made me feel like some days I just feel like the quality of my life is taken from me. And to know that my body is attacking itself and just is turning on me is just a sucky feeling because I'm so young still. I have so much drive that it just hurts that some days I'm not even able to get out the bed and go make me something to eat, or something as simple as just putting my hair up in a ponytail. It hurts. I feel like doctors are just so quick to dismiss you when you go to them, and it doesn't even have to be from my situation, just with other situations. And if they can't figure it out, they're just gonna dismiss you. It's a sad world that we live in. I'm not gonna take this one lying down because at the end of the day, I need my quality of life to be enhanced by all means. If that means me seeking holistic doctors, which I honestly am aiming more to, because everybody is entitled, but this is just my story. This is what I've been dealing with for a lot of years, and I'm pretty sure you've come across a situation one time in your life where a doctor just made you feel like just complete shit because they're not listening. Sometimes they're just quick, they're rushy, they're not really willing to take the time out to figure out what it is that you're telling them is bothering you. It's just really sad. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. It's no fun. I'm gonna take it for what it is because it's in my charts, but am I gonna accept it in here? Absolutely not, because I know there's more. I know that my body is experiencing and going through other things. So what I did was I took it a step further for myself, and I made an appointment to see an immunologist slash allergist, because it could be something as simple as my diet, things that I'm allergic to that are making me sick, that's affecting my joints, my muscles, creating fatigue, creating weakness in my body, creating memory loss and brain fog and chronic migraines. Like, these are all of the symptoms that I have been experiencing. It's driving me insane. And there was one thing that she said that really let me know that, you know what, I don't even want to mention that I have fibromyalgia if I go seek another doctor, because she asked me if I had anxiety. When she said fibromyalgia, her next follow-up question was, do you have anxiety? And I was like, yeah, actually I do. Anxiety has become a part of my life. When my body started to turn on me, I developed an increase of anxiety because it's very frustrating to be alone or feel alone and you have no answers. Like, who wants to be in the bed all day? Who wants to wake up every single day with pain? That's what it's been for me. And it sucks. It's something that can take a toll on your mental health. No matter how positive and determined I am, there are times where I have weak moments. and I'm just over it because I feel like I'm not normal like other people. I just want to feel like my best self. I have good days, I have bad days. They said they're cold flares, and those can last me anywhere from like 2 days to like 5 days where I'm just man down. I can almost describe it as I have the flu. Except I'm not really coughing, I'm not sneezing. It's more of like my body just feels like it's been hit by a truck. Everything hurts. Even sometimes my scalp hurts. Like sometimes my skin is sensitive to touch. It's crazy. But there's no bruising. You can't even see it. So by looking at me, you won't even be able to tell that I'm hurting in all of these parts of my body. And I like to think that I hold it pretty damn well. I try to, despite what I'm feeling, I try to just push through my days and make it a good one, even when I'm feeling pain. So basically what I'm trying to do for myself is be an advocate. I'm trying to make sure I get enough sleep. I'm trying to continue to read up on it and continue to find a doctor that's willing to take the time out for me, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to be back on here with a part 2 to let you guys know more. For now, that's just what it is. So I'm hoping that this video is helping somebody right now who has just recently got diagnosed with fibromyalgia, or you're experiencing these uncomfortable symptoms in your body and you're really not getting anywhere. Don't stop there. Just don't stop there. You know what you feel. You're the only one who can speak for yourself, right? Nobody else can really speak for you. So if you feel like your body's not really functioning properly, 9 times out of 10 there's something that's off. It can be very simple, something that's so simple that a doctor just overlooked. I'm probably all over the place with this video, and I did write things down, but honestly I like to speak from here. This is just a quick update. This is not anything to it's not like a sad story. It's just something to put out there and to just spread awareness that all in all, now I feel like with research and more like doctors, I guess looking into it, fibromyalgia is a real thing. So don't let anybody tell you that it's not a real thing, even if they make you feel like it's not a real thing. What I'm gonna do, even though it's in my charts, going forward looking for a special doctor, because I will find a doctor that is going to be willing to take the time to help me. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm going to let them do their work and see if they're going to really do some more invasive testing, because again, one doctor can't steal the show. There's millions of other doctors out there that will take their time. A lot of them just don't want to because they're overworked, overbooked, and they're just like, well, if I can't vividly see that you have, God forbid, cancer, then you're fine. If your labs came back normal, then you're fine. That's BS, because there are so many different other tests that you can do to determine a sickness. You just have to be willing. You get what I'm saying? So just don't stop there. Comment down below if you're dealing with this type of issue, or you're dealing with any type of illness and you're not getting anywhere. It's very frustrating, but just know you're not alone. We'll be back to update you guys with anything else, and I will continue my search. I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video.